Okay, so we are now live. So we'll wait about 2 minutes. Unfortunately, with the recent changes with StreamYard, I can't even tell now how many people are on, nor the comments. So actually, we'll be flashing some of the comments to us so that we can see some of the main comments that are coming in. Unfortunately, with the recent. Okay. All right, so we'll wait for a little bit. We should have a good turnout this evening because there's been some promotion otherwise from Facebook and I know Instagram and others. So I'm just going to check to see when we're about 15, 20 persons and then we can start. I saw the funniest joke today, but it's okay. Comrade Dane, Dr. to be Dane Warren. Greetings. Dane is a former member of the PNPYO. Alicia is in New Jersey. So there are others, but we're just seeing some of the main comments. And a labor right brethren just text me, so I have to respond because I want to know where to find these two geniuses so they can hear what you two have to say. Yeah. All right. Alicia, when you come to Jamaica, I give her the gift, man. Chuck. Alicia is a traveler, a world traveler. She's here on the way. Nicola Holness. Hey, beautiful Kim. You know, Kim, somebody told me the other day that you look like a young version of Portia. And Portia was in an element and they saw you with a hairstyle and thought that was a perfect Portia hairstyle.
I saw the comments, Comrade Paul.
I saw the comments. Good. Jesse, you can't beat that enough.
No, not at all. I would attempt to. From the moment you mentioned good looks, I stopped competing.
Yes, but Comrade Nicola is also hailing you up.
Hey, Comrade Nicola.
Yes, so we have some comments who are always here. Okay, Comrade Nick, big up yourself. By the way, Nick unfortunately lost his father a few weeks ago. The funeral is on later this month, so I definitely will be there. Nick is actually in Toronto, and he saved me recently. I got stranded in a snowstorm, and I had to get to Miami and then to New York for Christmas. And Nick pulled some strings there for me, so big up to Nick all the time.
Man. And condolences, Nick.
Yes.
Yeah, we wish him strength as he navigate his way through this difficult time.
Yeah. It's rough. A number of comrades have lost loved ones over the last couple of years. Well, some of it due to COVID, but more recently some other occurrences like accident and murder, and so on. So it's rough. I never get. I have been in the business of representation politics for 20 odd years, and every time somebody close to me passes, it's like all over again. You never get used to it, you know. Death is just so final.
Yeah, that's true.
And hard to accept.
Difficult to accept. And even when the pastor tells you that, you know, there is hope and that you will see them afterwards, that is by faith. Faith. So we still have, for those of us whose faith is not 100%, and I can't tell who could ever be 100%, but we still mourn the passing.
And you're going to miss the person too as well, you know, because they would have played a role in your life.
Yes. Yes.
Not only that,
All
sometimes
right.
simple things
So,
bring back the memories.
yes, yeah. For both of you, can you just ensure that those of you whose friends are watching, if they can just share it as much as possible. Sometimes people miss it, and even though the videotape is there forever, people like to see it live. So if you can just send out the word to share. And so we're starting officially another Friday evening, Connection Live. We have two very brilliant guests this evening as we continue our discussions around the local government elections, our candidates, and coming to the end of another week. We missed last week and the week before. There were some persons who knew where I was. Others, they don't follow the news enough, so they don't know that I slip away to Trinidad and Tobago. And even though I posted something about pleasure and why we should not deny ourselves pleasure, people still didn't get it. And I posted some pictures of me partying, but they still didn't get it. So for those who didn't get it, I am back. And I had a wonderful carnival. People believe that it's worthless people who go to carnival and people just don't have nothing to do. People who have probably excess money and things. But for me, carnival is spiritual, yes. And how can that be when there is so much raucousness and bad behavior? But one of these days I'll take the time to explain why for 22 years I go there almost like a religious journey to reignite the spirits and to ensure that the energies are given some sustenance. People believe that it's only food you need, but you need other things too. So we are back, and we are going to, in some earnest now, continue with our weekly live with very important guests as we move forward with our political discussions, as we look at the issues. And so I want to welcome, especially today, Comrades Kimberly Thompson. When I first met Kimberly, she was associated with Eastern St. Thomas, but she jumped ship or she crossed border, and now she is in Western St. Thomas, our candidate in the Trinityville division. One of the most beautiful people ever to offer themselves in politics for St. Thomas. Welcome, Comrade Kim. We can call you Kim. We can call you Kim.
Sure, that's my name.
Your friends call you Kimmy. What they used to call you at school?
They just call me Kim or Kimmy T.
Oh, not baby Portia.
No.
All right, welcome. And we have on the other side of town, in Region 3. And by the way, I should declare I am now working in St. Thomas in Region 2. So people have to understand, St. Thomas is a parish of my birth, and I really believe and want St. Thomas to do very well and for us to get back our 2 seats and to return the council back to the mayor, Mayor Hubert Williams, who is the incumbent mayor for St. Thomas. But Jesse James Clark,
yes,
young, they say young, gifted and black.
yes, thanks.
From Southeast St. Andrew, a seat represented by former General Secretary and my own junior minister, Julian Robinson, the spokesman on finance now. Jesse is going to be our candidate. In the Trafalgar Park Division, we welcome you both to this live. And before we go any further, the guests do want to know a little bit about both of you. So we could start with Kim. Kim, you look like you're just at a high school. So tell the guests who you are, and you don't have to tell us your age, but we like to know that too. Yes, Kim, your time.
I am Kimberly Thompson. I was born and raised right here in the parish of St. Thomas.
Really?
Yes, I attended Morant Bay High School.
Yeah.
I am a business professional, an author, justice of the peace, community advocate, and I have my degree in international relations and management studies.
All right. Coming back to you, Kim. Jesse, tell us about you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jesse James Clark, and I'm a lecturer. I'm a food scientist, and I'm a medical scientist, and I'm a lecturer at the University of Technology. High school, I'm originally from St. Elizabeth, so I went to Monroe College, and then to UTech, then UWE after that. So in my spare time, I enjoy talking about having discussions about politics, religion, and business ideas.
Very good. Welcome to you both. I see Nicola is saying that you work very hard in your division or in the constituency, so already somebody can identify with you. All right.
Thanks.
Before I go much further, this week we had the Standing Finance Committee of the Parliament where our budget, which is over $1 trillion, was reviewed. But I want to mention just one thing out of that exercise because it means so much to me. I asked the Minister of Energy in Parliament this week, and I'm so amazed that the newspaper really didn't see it as a headline. What is the price of electricity now? And the minister said 42 cents per kilowatt hour. You know what it was in 2002 when I became minister? 42 cents per kilowatt hour. You know what it was in 2016 when we lost the elections? 25 cents per kilowatt hour. So under this JLP government, we have seen the price of electricity, rather than coming down, escalated back to where we were at the highest level of the price for electricity then. So I just wanted to say that, put that aside, to come back to the main discussion, because next week we're going to talk a little bit about the budget, and by that time we'd have heard the presentation from the Minister of Finance, so we're going to come back to that. But today is all about the postponement again of the local government elections, and I would love to hear firstly Kimberly's perspective, because you've just got your mayor, and probably you don't see it as Jesse Wood, who has been waiting and waiting and waiting to have his own mayor. What is your take? What is your take on it, Kimberly?
Well, I understand the angle from which you would have taken the argument, us just getting a PNP mayor in the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation. But looking at the situation from a more objective standpoint, I think that the elections are due and they should have been called. Because it is quite unfortunate that a government can use an act which is titled Representation of the People's Act to foster and facilitate lack of representation for the people.
Right.
We consider ourselves to be a democratic country, and according to the 16th United States President, Abraham Lincoln, democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people. The continuous postponement of the election, not once, not twice, but 3 times now, would indicate that they are the government of the people, by the people, but not for the people. That's my take on the subject.
All right, I'm going to come back to that. Again, you are seeing it from two perspectives. The objective one, which you have stated, and we want to talk a little bit about the recent experience of St. Thomas having its own mayor.
Okay.
But Jesse, by the way, how long have you been a candidate now, Jesse?
It's 2 years now. I mean,
3 years.
Yeah.
And you're a candidate, but you're not the councillor.
No.
Because the person who is councillor,
the
ran on a PNP ticket.
Right. So for that reason alone, the comrades, especially in our neck of the woods, they're anxious to see the election for that reason, because they would have been disgruntled because of the switch and the people not having a say in in somebody just crossing the floor like that with their vote, you know. So they are kind of they are disgruntled about that. So they're anxiously awaiting the opportunity to, you know, voice their grouse by way of the polls. So, you know, the ground is a little bit anxious as it relates to that. It's difficult when you're a candidate because the response, how persons view candidates now is different from maybe some even 4 years ago, because now they're expecting to perform just like how the councillor would perform. You know, so all the responsibilities of the regular councillor is now on your shoulders too as well to perform, while you don't get any type of government funding to do anything at all. So you have to be dependent on your supporters and so on. Thankfully for me, I have an excellent member of parliament with an excellent team, along with Comrade Swavey and our manager, Comrade Heather Robinson, that kind of really guide me and keep me in line too as well. And it's a very organized team, and that is something that they bring to the table, and that is something that has allowed me to improve. So with each time there's a postponement, we meet and we decide how we can use that to our advantage. So we stay on top of things like enumeration and so on. But it hasn't been easy because, as I said, the demand is out there. Persons are very desperate on the ground too as well in terms of their own financial situation. You know, you have a lot of persons living below the poverty line too and so on.
Yeah. All right. So, Kimberly, you only recently got a mayor, but you don't have a member of parliament like Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
First, remind us of how long you have been a candidate so far.
I have been a candidate for 5 years.
Oh my God. 5 years. Wow. Tell us, describe for us how that has been for you, because Jesse's there for 3.
Yeah.
He has a good MP.
Yeah.
He's the councillor, but you know, once you have an MP, that will help you.
Yeah, both of us.
How have you managed, Kimberly?
I have managed based on sheer determination. It has been quite challenging at times because the demands are high, and as Comrade Jesse would have said, people are living in certain economic situations. They want help, they want assistance, and you are not in a position to help them as you would like to by just being a mere candidate caretaker. So for me, the journey has been one that I hope someday I can reflect on and feel some sense of pride in myself, because it's been really challenging some of the times, yet fulfilling.
Yeah. You know, I met only today with a candidate who is at the national level. Okay, this is something from Nicole. It's amazing how involved Kema has become in our community, how she has blossomed into a very caring, authoritative woman. I love Comrade Kim, future leader. Very nice thing to say, Comrade Holness. I met this morning with a candidate at the national level, and I had to pause the conversation to say this. So many of our candidates take on the role as either member of parliament as councillor, not realizing that they are not member of parliament nor councillor. They are unelected to this point. And I know it is difficult. Things are rough out there on the people. So they're going to gravitate to whoever is offering themselves a leadership. But it is really unfair for both of you who are not elected to be seen as the elected councillors in your respective division. And I think we have to try to see how we educate, especially our supporters, so that they know that they need to support you to become elected, to become councillors, and that you really can't, because you don't have the resources. You can't extend yourself to the point where they can expect resources coming from you. It is just unfair and unreasonable. Luckily for you, Jesse, you can always point to the member of parliament.
Yeah, but he's us. It's he's also under pressure too as well, because as I said, the
Absolutely.
demand is just overwhelming, as you would
Yeah.
know too.
Yeah.
The demand is just overwhelming because persons can't afford food, medication, um,
Yeah.
with deaths in the family too as well from violence,
Right.
It's,
So Kim, what are the major issues in your division, Trinterville?
Well, in Trinityville, significant issues would be infrastructure. Farmers have a real challenge as it relates to getting their produce down to the main. The
Roads.
system, yeah, the current system there is quite archaic. People are talking about beasts and mules, and we know if we are dealing with those things, then productivity is not really at a high level. They also have a serious problem with irrigation, and that is something I never quite understood because the area has a lot of rivers. There
Right.
are some road improvement projects going on right now, so I believe that is commendable. And one of the most recent issue, which the people even protested about, was the dust nuisance, which they are experiencing from the same road improvement. But I think those calls have not gone on deaf ears because I've been in the area twice afterwards and I have seen the water trucks working.
Yeah. Jesse, I will tell you a little secret. I didn't tell this to Kim, but twice I was invited to her division for two functions, and I did go. But I tell you, after I come back home on both, I said, "Why am I not go so far again?" And it's not so far, but because the road conditions terrible. She know I can't say no to her, but please, Kim, lay off on the invitations until some of the road fixing is completed. I hear that they want to do it by September. There's no way that road in St. Thomas can be finished this year, nor next year.
Absolutely no way.
Yeah. And I did offer my services, but nobody has taken me up yet because I think I'm probably joking. But the amount of dust that people have to endure and the resulting health problems that they face, I think the government should have to pay out billions of dollars for healthcare for the people there, plus the loss of business and so on. How is the dust
Not to,
situation now?
not to mention the mashing up of your vehicles. Many people
Of
who
course.
even work in the corporate area have resorted back to taking public
Yes.
transportation because they cannot afford to maintain the vehicles at the rate at which they need repairs.
Right. What are some of the issues you face, Jesse?
the first issue for me is in terms of crime. So even up to this week, there has been where some Chinese persons allegedly were robbed at home
Oh,
inside.
is your
Yeah,
division?
that's in my division, right? Inside of a gated community. And you find that a lot of the crime that is happening, especially I can take my division as an example. It happens, but it doesn't make the news. And so it seems like everything is okay, but crime is really a very big problem. The robbery, the break-ins, and persons. We don't have as many violent deaths right now. I would thank God for that. But the robberies have been at an all-time high inside my division. Infrastructure in terms of roof repairs. I wish I wish it's something that I would probably need a specific team to assemble a specific team to look at that too, because a lot of roofs in the division they're older houses, so the roofs starting to go now, so they need roofing material as well as sanitation too as well. Wastewater management and all that.
Right.
We have been working on it step by step, but we just have to do the best we can with the little that we have. So hoping to get
Right.
get it done community by community. So
Yeah.
those are the major things. And also one of the problems that we also having is in terms of employment for the younger persons. What I've been doing now, and it's something I plan to ramp up, is the recruitment for the hard programs, because they're free, and there are programs that can lead you to become an entrepreneur when you finish. You can do plumbing, carpentry, general construction, whatever it is. So that's what I'm
Right.
trying to prevent, having too many unattached youths in the division, because the more unattached youths you have, you're going to have problems later on.
Yeah. Both of you are young people, certainly by looking at you. But we have seen in the country young people despairing, losing hope and faith, first in the political system.
Yeah.
Many of them don't vote, they don't care to vote. What caused you both to be interested in the politics, and how do you believe we are going to be able to build back hope and trust on the part of young people to firstly offer themselves, but also to go out and vote? Kimberly?
Well, first of all, I believe that if it is that we want to see change happening around us, some of us have to step up and become a part of the process. We cannot always wait for some other person or some other time. The discussion that we are having right now about the postponement of the election, it is things like these why so many young people are apathetic towards the political process. Because if we can remember correctly, prior to 2016, the moral high ground that the prime minister would have been walking on, it's a completely different persona nowadays. So people are young people in particular, if you talk to them, you will hear them say, well, everybody is the same thing and we cannot blame them. So some of us have to step up and show them a different side to the politics. Some of us have to actually be the agents of change and show them that accountability and transparency, it does exist in the political system. It is just a system like any other system which has good and bad. And if young people see some of our own peers being a part of the process, then it will encourage others to, if not say jump on board at the same time, but even express some sort of curiosity, find out more about it, and eventually become a part of the process. Maybe
Yeah.
not as active as myself or Comrade Jesse, but at the very least vote.
Yeah. So Jesse, how are we going to get young people more involved?
I think the first step we have to take is to show them that we actually care about them, and that is where we have to start, because young people are facing very severe challenges. For example, in at the university every year, I can count that is going to happen. You have students, very very bright students, who come and they have to drop out because they can't afford the school fee, or in order to maintain to maintain the studies and so on, they end up in all kind of activities that we would not want them to be engaged in. So it's almost like, if you, for a young person who is starting from scratch, who don't want to go down the path of crime and violence or anything illegal, even when they're trying to do the right thing, it seems like it's way more difficult for them to do the right thing than it is to do the bad thing.
Yeah.
So we have to now find way of incentivizing them for making the right decisions and being part of the system, and encouraging them to as well, because I don't believe that we should have young people dropping out of school who are extremely bright, just because they can't afford to fund their education. And something that happens all the time. And then at the end of the day, when they're finished and they have these huge loans to repay, they are going to go where they have no loyalty to the country at that point in time, because they would have struggled for 4 or 5 or even 7 years to complete the studies. So when they finish, they're just going to make
Yeah.
the decision that is best for them. They're not going to stay and struggle any longer in the country. So that is part of the reason for being that. And young people want to know that they can at least enjoy the country that they're living. They shouldn't be
Yeah.
struggling to some of the very basic things, like, just to own a vehicle or to own a regular house, not even anything fancy, just to even
Right.
own a regular home. It's difficult. Even with a very good job, it's difficult in Jamaica. So it's not young. So we have to make the country young people friendly, and
Right.
bet on our young people, because if they're able to play such a vital role in organized crime, and they're beating us now in terms of organized crime, we can use that same talent to do wonderful things for the country, to develop things and to take us out of our economic problems now.
Yeah. Kimberly, you mentioned about Prime Minister Holness. And to me, the last 6 months or so have been very, I think it speaks volume, because I have not seen the level of anger and disappointment that I'm seeing now when you go on the road. And the anger is geared towards the Prime Minister and his team. I think a lot of it has to do with what people see as a level of arrogance that is emerging, and the lack of transparency, and the hardship that people are faced with. Are you detecting any shift in the political support for you over the past 6 months or so? What is it on the ground like? Am I correct in saying that people are really upset and fed up, Kim?
Yes, I believe you are absolutely correct. If you speak to the common person, even those who have absolutely no interest in politics, they are extremely disgruntled with what is happening right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your experience, Jesse?
I think a big part of it too is that the young people in the country gambled on the prime minister, partly because of his age and the image that he created, that he's one of them and he's for them. And so they were expecting him to address even some of the major problems that they're having. But what they're finding out now is that things have gotten even worse. So they are absolutely they have a lot of resentment now towards him for that, and for not keeping some of his promises. Because remember, they gave him a maximum power. I mean, the type of margin that he has now would be any leader's dream. He can literally do anything he wants to do. But instead of helping the young people and helping Jamaicans on a whole too, it has not gone that way. And it seems like we're even ending up in a worse situation. So persons are not they're not happy with that at all. And young people are not going to put up with it. I'm telling you, they're not long suffering like that.
And to add to that, I believe that a lot of people are of the opinion that, well, in the language of our people, they're just taking us for idiots. Because if we recall the words of the finance minister, he would have said, "Oh, the economy is booming. We're back to pre-pandemic levels and we're experiencing growth." And then here comes the Minister of Local Government saying, "Oh, we need to postpone the election because of economic reasons." Now, these are two ministers who sit in the same cabinet, and the argument is inconsistent. People are not stupid. And when you proffer those arguments and expect people to accept it as though you are talking to people who cannot read and write, I mean, Jamal changed all of that for us as Jamaicans. So the Prime Minister, if they want to postpone the
All right, we're experiencing a little bit of bandwidth difficulty there, but we're back with Kim. Yes, Kim, you were saying that if they want to postpone the elections, what?
I think she's muted.
Right. Probably you should unmute.
Comrade Kim, I think you're muted.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes,
I am saying that if they want to postpone the election because they see it as a political advantage, then come forward and be honest with the country. But you cannot have one minister saying to us at a point in time, "Oh, the economy is growing," and then another one is coming to say we are postponing the election for economic reasons. We are not a stupid set of people, and I believe that is grossly disrespectful to all of us as Jamaicans.
Yes. Respect to Diana Gray, who just big us up. Sandra Makiwan, who spoke about the disgruntlement. Yes, Jesse.
No, I was just saying that if you look at what is even happening, because I have an interest in healthcare, what is happening in our healthcare.
Yes.
If you look at what is happening inside healthcare, if you go to most of the major hospitals, you find that how our people are being treated at our health facilities is shameful. And because you find that even if you do get a spot on the ward, sometimes you have persons on the ground, sleeping on the floor, being admitted in hospital, sleeping on the floor, sleeping on all different types of material on the ground. And I think that this was unacceptable. There is not even our major hospital, KPH. If you go there for certain conditions, you have to use an ambulance to get you to somewhere private, maybe to do a particular scan, because the machine isn't working. And that shouldn't be the case in our largest public hospital on the island. So I'm saying the quality of healthcare that we've even given to our people is shameful. And these are the things that should be an emergency, because, and and people can sense it, when they look at things like that. The hospital don't have proper bathroom, they can't find gloves, they don't have soap, they don't have water, basic things like that.
Yes.
It don't matter what you come and say to them afterwards, they are feeling those things personally, and it happens the least among us, so it's really bad. And those are things that, people die just because they don't have enough money to afford private care. And that happens every day, and it traumatizes the staff that has to work in that environment too as well.
Right, absolutely. Both of you have spoken about change and that young people want to see change. There are some big items in relation to change, and there are some smaller items like some of the issues you related to the health sector. Let us look at one of the big items, which is for Jamaica to go to a Republican system. That is one, and also for us to depart from the Privy Council and to embrace the Caribbean Court of Justice. What are your views on both? Kim, you want to start? Both in terms of breaking with the monarchy. We used to say queen, but now we have king, and the issue of the final court for Jamaica.
Personally, I have never really had a strong opinion on whether we should break away from the monarchy or not. But I do believe that if the matter is put to the people and it is accepted, then I would accept it as well. As a country, I am not outside of the monarchy being our head of state. I am not certain of the other benefits.
I see that Kim is having struggle with the bandwidth. Yes, Kim.
Comrade Paul, it's not network issue. Somebody keeps calling.
Or somebody is calling you and throwing it off. Okay. Wait. You're back now.
Yes, I am back now. But if it is that we do decide to move away from the monarchy, I believe having the CCJ as our final appellate court would be a good step in that direction.
And you see it as both removing the king as our head of state and also moving away from the Privy Council as our final court.
Yes, it does not make much of a sense to say we're holding on to the king as our head of state while having the CCJ as our final appellate court, or the reverse.
Right. Yes. Jesse, what's your take?
Yeah, I believe that it's like unfinished business from independence. I think we should just complete continue the road that we're on for full independence and just sever ties with them totally. And it's no more than ever we need to be bonding together with our Caribbean brothers and sisters and to see how best we can govern our own self and hold each other accountable. Kind of have a peer review process, which is really what it will boil down to. So I think it's time now for us as a region, because we are stronger when we are together, especially because each country by itself is so small. And we need to come together and make CARICOM really meaningful and have that kind of exchange taking place. So,
Sandra McEwan is saying that she had to leave Jamaica because as a worker in the health system, she couldn't manage. And that's a sentiment that runs through not only here, but for persons in the diaspora. People, hi, Percival Griffiths. First of all, it's so many of our people are overseas who are watching. First of all, used to work in my ministry, but he's now migrated. People sometimes watch us and say, politicians, that's all they do. They're into this for themselves, and many of them don't realize, as you have demonstrated today, that you're also professionals. So tell us a little bit about that side of you. Where do you work? Are you employed now? And what of your professional development going forward? Kim?
I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
I currently work in the export industry.
Yes.
Basically by doing everything,
So you're
procuring
not looking
goods.
at job. You're not looking at job for, as a counselor. You want to serve because you're already gainfully employed.
But I mean, getting a job as a counselor, I don't think a counselor is paid well enough to meet the demands of the people,
Yeah,
let
yeah.
alone to take care of yourself. So it is really my desire to serve why I aspire to become a counselor. But
Right.
I am really a business professional. I am passionate about business, and I always tell people if I had the exposure that I have now before I started university, I would have done my major in business.
In business. Yeah, we fully agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, we understand what you're saying, Kim. Jesse, what do you do now?
So I said earlier, I'm currently a lecturer at the University of Technology in the College of Health Sciences.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I work with the medical technology department. Um, Currently, I'm doing further studies in public health, and I'm also I'm working on getting a skill too as well. So I'm going to become a plumber, so that when I have my because I do a lot of bathroom sanitation projects. So that
yes,
whenever I have those projects to do, I can do most of the work myself to cut down the cost too as well, and and deal with the wastewater management issue too as well. So that is my goals going forward. Now is
yes.
to get those two things done and things. So, but I'm coming from a family of service. Both my parents were civil servants, and especially my mommy. I spent a lot of time with her. She was a midwife
Yeah.
in a rural area for part of the time. So I know about going to home deliveries and helping to pack the bag.
Really?
And yeah, man,
Yeah.
and going in the hills and valleys. So that is the type of service that I saw her give to the people.
Yes.
That's where I really want the healthcare to be at, where everybody have access, no matter how far up in the hills you live
Yeah.
or wherever. We should be able to find you and even give you the basics in terms
I'm
of
happy that you've touched on family because
yeah.
people sometimes don't see us as real people.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And probably in the few minutes that we have left, you could indicate to the viewers what is the level of support you get from your family.
yeah,
Both of you look like you're unmarried.
yeah,
Both of you.
yeah. Definitely.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So, and you've spoken about your mother, Jesse.
Yeah.
Kim, I know your mother. Your
Yes.
mother is a politician as well. So, what's the kind of support you get from home? Kim again.
The support coming from home is actually very strong. Interestingly, uh, my desire to venture into representational politics. It was a conversation I was having with one of my cousins one day, and she said to me, Kim, we are from a family of service because our great grandfather's wife, Vi Thompson, she was the first PNP member of parliament for Eastern St.
Really?
Thomas. Yes.
Yes.
So she said to me, we're coming from a family of service and one of us should continue. And I went out, I inquired about the PNPYO and started to get involved in the process from there. My mother is extremely supportive, she's probably a little bit too passionate about the politics because I remember at a point growing up, there were times when we were at home and my mother, she's a school teacher and she would leave school and we wouldn't see her until probably 1 or 2 a.m. That's when she's coming in from campaign meetings and so on. So now that gotten I have grown into becoming such an integral part of the process. The support system it's incredibly strong. My siblings are supportive, and just about everybody I can think of, they're like, "Yes, go for it. We are here. We will support you and pick up the slacks."
Good, good, good. Jesse, is your mother or your father?
Well, it's well, my father was actually the political animal in the house,
Yeah.
more so because he would have been through most of the earlier struggles. Because
Yeah.
something that a lot of persons don't know during during 2020. It was a bad year for me, not only because we lost the election, but right before that, I lost my mommy. And in February, so on August 28th, I lost my mommy, and in February 28th, I lost my dad. So I lost both of them in the same year. Daddy died at 92, so he would have seen the country progress over a long period of time. So he's the one that has, when you go through the struggles, the most you feel it. Who feels it knows it.
Right.
It's that kind of thing with him. So he had that kind of experience. So he would always tell me about it and explain a lot of the history of the country and and all that to me. So he was really the one pushing the political side of things. My mom was a little bit timid when I just went to Trafalgar. I was involved in politics before, but I never really loaded it up with her. My daddy knew.
Yeah.
But she's more of a church person and so on. But she warmed up to it and she became very supportive at the end of the day. Her only concern was to ensure that I stay safe and don't get in trouble. And but she was very supportive right up until the end. And I'm very happy that they gave me that kind of rounded background in terms of having focusing on education, but also serving the community in a real way, in ways that actually, can help them. And that is something that I really admired about them. They never had much, but they did what they could with whatever they had, and I'm very, very, very thankful for that. So I'm single, so I'm hoping that that's the only thing I do want from Jamaica, is to give me a godly wife.
Ah, wonderful. Any children and nephew? Any
No,
kids?
no children yet either.
Okay,
No, not yet.
all right, okay, there's time. So, what do you two do for fun? Because politics can be rough sport. So, what is a sport that you do that allows you to relax and have fun?
I like to write.
You're a writer.
Yes, I am a writer. I enjoy writing. I'll just sit down and get into my own little
That's
world.
boring stuff, though, Kim. It's not boring for you because you're at it. But nothing else?
Yes, I also enjoy going on adventures.
Okay.
So I will call a friend out of the blue and I say, "What you doing tomorrow?" And let's go here.
Yes.
And we will go on a long drive, long journeys, enjoy the sun, sand, sea, breeze, everything you can think about, and come back.
And well, people
Because
say that you're very slim. So how do you keep that way? You go to the gym, you're dieting, or how do you keep your
I think
figure?
it's mainly through dieting. I don't eat a lot. And when I do eat, it is mostly low fat and low carb food.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
At one point, I was trying out a pescatarian diet, but it didn't last for very long.
Okay. What about alcohol?
I rarely ever drink.
Okay. Church?
Well, I grew up in the Methodist church.
Oh, wow, look at that.
In the choir?
I'm Methodist too.
No.
Yeah. All right. You still got church though?
Occasionally.
You got the funerals, I know.
Yes, indeed.
So Jesse, you're a dancehall man?
No, I'm actually Methodist too, and I have a very strong relationship with the Baptist church too as well. So, the church I got to know that I'm in Kingston is Gardentown Methodist. But some weeks, what I try to do is to have to rotate it around. So I go to some of the different churches inside the division and so on. So I'm not at Gardentown as often as I would like to be, but I'm Methodist, So.
Yeah.
Yes, and I enjoy having good discussions. That the one where everybody, when you have your group of people around you, you can just be totally free. You don't have to filter what you're saying or anything, and you just have discussion and the vigorous debate. I enjoy that a whole lot. So just hanging out with my friends, wherever, with food and drinks and so on. It's good, whether it's at the beach or wherever. I enjoy that, and I enjoy learning about different cultures too as well. And I'm taking up a new hobby, as I told you before, which is plumbing.
Plumbing. All right. Exercise. You exercise.
Yes, when I get a chance to, I do.
Yes. But you can eat any kind of food.
Yes, but I try to I try not to overindulge to just the same. But I can get away with it for now.
Yeah. When people see both of you, it gives them hope
Yeah.
It makes them feel that, boy, all is not lost. And the truth is that is you two and others who are going to run this country very, very soon, you know.
Yeah.
And so when you represent yourself as well as both of you are doing today, it is quite positive. And I have been getting some comments on my phone. I can't see what is happening on my
Yes.
Facebook page, but the comments that I'm getting are very positive, very positive. We don't like to extend these sessions too long because we don't want people to get bored after a while. So we're going 50 minutes. Yeah, man. It's a good time, and you have spoken to us about the issue of the postponement of the elections. You've spoken about your candidacies. You've spoken about the challenges, and you have also given us a hint as to who you are.
Yes.
And I think based on the comments I'm getting, people are very, very impressed with the caliber of our candidates. You know, people believe that local government is for those who don't make it at the national level.
It's serious
And
business.
don't realize that we need to have good managers at the local level.
Yeah.
And people are seeing both of you as tremendous prospects for the future.
Yes.
And so let me thank you both.
Yes.
Do you have anything you want to say to your constituents in your divisions? We always like to start with the lady.
Yes.
I feel like you're picking on me, Comrade Paul.
You're from my parish. And now that I know that you're related to Vi Thompson, who was the person who inspired me to declare St. Thomas as my parish, because before that it was just labor rights who run the parish. So even more so now, there's an affinity. So let us hear from you first, Kim.
Well, first of all, I always want to express gratitude to the team behind the Trinityville division, because politics, the foot soldiers, it's mostly volunteering, and we should never ever take that for granted. So at every opportunity I get, I always want to express that gratitude. And on behalf of all the people of Trinityville, Comrade Paulwell, I also know that the road construction project has not yet been completed, but I want to ask you in this public setting, when is it that you can pay us a visit again? Because they like to engage with the big people in the party.
Yes. We need to bring some other big people, and I hope you're not meaning that I'm old enough.
No.
It's not about my experience.
Yes, experience.
Yes, and I can't say no, but we also need to get some other people as well. So we're gonna do that. By the way, I see Sandra McEwan has been very impressed as well about Jessie, and she's indicated that she goes to Thornton Methodist.
Yes. So she should be seeing me on Sunday. So I should be in church.
No, I think she's overseas now.
Oh, she's overseas. Okay.
My church now has Zoom facility, so I tell the truth. I won't say it loud. I hardly go to church because I can now be at home, and because church is almost in my constituency. Sometimes I go to church and it's like I'm at my constituency office. So anyway, we're not going there today. You tell us about what you want to say to your constituents.
I would just want to thank them very much for accepting me and supporting me and guiding me too as well, in terms of navigating the culture of the division and so on. And I just want to say a big thank you to the Trafalgar people and the team at the office too as well, and the persons, the community leaders who have supported me even when I became the junior spokesperson on health and wellness too as well. And they help with the day-to-day work that I have to get done inside the division, which is a lot. It's no way you can do it on your own without that kind of support from Miss Ivy to Miss Sonia to Samantha inside the office, to Antoinette, Michelle, everybody, the entire team, Tony and Keith and Murphy. You have a big up everybody. And
you get yourself into trouble for calling
names. Right? I start calling names, but I just want to say thanks to all of them, and I really appreciate it. And I'll do everything I can to ensure that your efforts don't go to waste, and that the people are in a better position at the end of the day too as well. Whenever they call the election and we get that chance to be to become the councillor for the Trafalgar division. And I want to thank you too as well, Comrade Paul, for facilitating the discussion today, because there was a time when I only saw you in the paper on the news, and now we're having meetings together. So I'm very thankful for that, and you're one of the persons I look up to as well. So you helped to shape me in this part of the journey too as well. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Someone just sent me a message that the future of the PNP is in safe hands, and it's because of both of you. So you have made an impression already. I hope people will share this live so that others will join in this experience. I think it really is a positive look and feel for our party. So let me thank you both.
Thank you.
We got the mayor for me, Kim. We got the mayor.
Okay, Comrade Paul, and I also want to say thanks to you for having us.
Ah, wonderful, wonderful. All right. Have a great weekend. And
Thanks.
we will return next week, Friday, with Connection Live.
All right. Thanks. Take care.
All the best. All the best.
Thanks.
All right. Over and out.